Hi, AGP students. Welcome to our leadership development course. We're now here at lesson number 5. And today's lesson is about personal leadership styles. Today's lesson is mostly going to be focused on kind of introducing some very fundamental concepts, ones that I believe that will help give you some structure and some knowledge and terminology, certain terminology that which you can use in your efforts to really start trying to evaluate individuals. And as you know, the course is kind of learning in the progression and how to understand yourself and understanding yourself and learning how to manage yourself a bit better. And now we're sort of moving into a bit of the phase where understanding yourself and learning how to utilize those strengths um, to help you in beginning to manage other people more effectively in a way. So, uh, today's lesson, you mentioned personal leadership styles. And just kind of first starting off with what is leadership. Um, this is such a huge word, a very impactful word, and one that ideally we could spend a great deal of time on. But some things that I'd like to just comment on it very briefly is, leadership. And when you think of leadership, more often than not, it's individuals who are working to a common goal. You know, people, one or many individuals who are working together, who are collaborating, who have a goal, who have a vision in mind, and who are working to something. And with that, you need individuals who can sort of direct those efforts and helping the pack, the herd, to get there and get across the goal line, essentially. Also, leadership is about influencing people, you know, influencing them in a way for a common good, for a common purpose, and helping people to buy in to that goal and to that vision that's been set out before the group. And being able to have people who are willing, who are motivated, and who are energized with the fact of trying to achieve something and things. Um, Also, I think leadership is a part more about not only the words in which you say and how you sort of communicate that message, but also about how the actions in which you take and to lead those people to that goal, to that vision and things. So those are some very brief comments. As I mentioned, I think leadership in itself, um, we could really spend a multitude of classes, several classes in trying to cover leadership, but I just want to equip you with some fundamental aspects of it and helping you being able to sort of adopt some uh, determined knowledge into this. Also, with this, we'll be looking, using your personality, your strengths, and doing that to help you to lead others and understand what you're better at. So first off, kind of go into some common qualities and traits. Again, this is just a handful. I'm sure you may come up with a number that exist outside of this, but these are just some of the ones that I feel like that you need as an individual to be a leader. Charisma. I think one thing as well is as a person who's going to lead others, you have to have some charisma. You have to have some personality with that. And some people more naturally um, developed within this skill. Some people it takes some discovery and some finding things. I'll be honest, I'm not the most charismatic person. I don't want to say my personality is like of a cardboard box or anything, but I feel like a lot of where my energy comes from is sort of passion in which I show things, and just as well as my willingness to get in and lead through my actions and things. And I think that's where a lot of my charisma. Some people are much more dynamic than me, and and have no problems, drawing people in through their personality alone. So the other thing is commitment and showing that you're someone who's committed to the cause, and and you're going to do what's necessary, regardless of whatever the task is, to get things done. And that's very important because I think a lot of people are motivated by that, and because of it, Others will buy in and will see that no task, no job is too small for themselves, and if that's what's needed to get the job done, then so be it. Communication, being able to communicate is very, very important within this, because without communication, people can't understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish, the goals. They don't see the vision, the pathway in which you're trying to get there. And some people are better than others at it. If you feel like that is something which you struggle at, it's more of understanding how you communicate and how to sort of reach your audience. I think also a lot of preparation can help to resolve some of this, and doing your homework and being able to lay things out in a manner in which people can follow. Some people are more linear, like dot to dot to dot, being able to follow that. Some people are more free floating in a sense and being able to more big picture ideas. Vision, I think also as well, is that you have to have vision as a person, and be able to be a good leader, and then even those who want to be great leaders in a way, is that you can't just be someone who's concerned about the immediate step in front of you, but you have to be able to see the things beyond that and anticipate what some of the pitfalls may be, the obstacles, the goals in what you're trying to get to, and what other things you may have to accomplish, to get to that point. And then lastly, I think you have to have some courage. I think you have to be a risk taker to some extent. You have to be able to sort of take calculated risk, and that you are sort of pushing the boundaries and being innovative and looking to see how you can continually move things forward and such. So you may see that some of these characteristics, whether you might be someone who possesses a lot of charisma, but maybe you struggle and with your vision, and maybe some of the things in which you are not as maybe you're more conservative in your things. And once again, it's understanding what it is, what you do well, what you don't do well, and how to balance those sort of traits and qualities in which you have, and supplement them with a team of people who can help to complement these sort of things. So how many of you know who this is? Does anybody? Yeah, show of hands. Well, this is Steve Jobs, and hopefully you know who Steve Jobs is just by the name alone. But if you don't know, he's the one that was the starter of Apple. And when Apple started, I think back in the early '80s, and there was a time in which they were doing really well and things, and then they didn't do so well, and he was actually fired from the job, and then they brought him back. But Jobs, I mean, he revolutionized the tech world. I mean, he changed the way in which we looked at our cell phones, the way in which we do music and iTunes and things, and the streaming of music. He changed the way, kind of how we watch TV, and being able to stream things through our TVs and stuff. So he was very innovative, a thinker, someone who truly made a significant impact and left his thumbprint on this world. And we were forever changed of that. And who knows, it may be another 40, 50, 60, 80 years before something that comes along that revolutionizes the way in how we communicate, because the smartphone is something in which you could say is a vital piece to how people live their lives today. But and then you may know who this person is. Anybody know who this is? So give you take a moment to guess. But this is Donald Trump. He's running as a Republican presidential candidate. He's one of the leaders in the polls and things. He's very well known for the amount of money that he has. I mean, he has a lot of money. Probably about as much as Steve Jobs too, if not more. But he's seen as someone who's very aggressive. A lot of people may see him greedy, very divisive in a sense. He's not really known for working together with others very well and stuff, but he's very successful as a person. So, and you ask, are both of these individuals great leaders? Well, of course they are. Of course they are. I mean, they both have their own unique attributes, their own things in which they excel at, but obviously they have a lot of people who respect them. Steve Jobs for his innovation, as a thinker. Donald Trump and his ability to make money and things. And a lot of people who obviously listen to him and respect his wisdom in that respect. They're both tremendous leaders within those two different environments. And they both have very different leadership styles. Where Steve Jobs, he's very innovative, as I mentioned, always pushing the boundaries, looking to create new things and how to, change the way in which we live our lives. Where Donald Trump, he's very structured. He has a process in place. He knows how to make money. This is the way in which he's going to go about it. This is the things and how he goes about analyzing his risk and things. And he's got something like that in mind. Steve Jobs, more democratic. He's being able to listen to the people and take their things in consideration and build something for the consumer, because that's what we are, and we're the consumers of his products, and he's listening to us. He's building things for us. Anyway, on the opposite hand, Trump is probably seen more as authoritarian, as this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to be done, and this is what we're going to do, and it works. So, with that, he's not being influenced by his parties and things, where Jobs, on the other hand, is being influenced by those in which he's creating the products for. Jobs is also, a lot more collaborative in a sense, in regards to the products in which he has and the people in which he works with, where Trump is seen more as an isolated individual. For him and himself, and the way in which he does things and operates, is that he's seen in that manner, to the public eye. Stuff. So you can see the various different leadership styles. Honestly, I think both of them definitely serve their purpose, and it's recognizing the instances and the situations where they both can be beneficial, and that but they also just as well as not being too extreme. If you're democratic to the extreme where you're allowing the ones in which you serve to run that, then there's probably certain things in which they are not necessarily privy to or knowledge they may have, and can lead you astray. Same thing of being too authoritarian in a way. If you're too authoritarian, then you may run people off. You may have a difficult time getting people to buy into your vision and things. So you have to find and strike a balance where the situation is appropriate, where it's not this or that, but it's a balance in some shape or form for the two. So moving on, and this is something we're going to work along a lot in class, and I really believe this is an excellent model to start with and to help you to sort of break down and to evaluate things. And this is situational leadership, and this is a newer model that's being introduced, and that things are not so cut and dry, and it's actually more of a blended version of things. And in this particular instance, we're evaluating the skill of people, the capabilities in which they have, and within a certain task, responsibilities, skills that are to that, and then also their commitment. Looking at how well are they motivated to do well with this task or this responsibility, or to the goal and the vision of the team, or to the business, to the class, whatever it may be. It's understanding that, and you can see here on this scale we've got the X, which is the commitment and the will, and here's the 0, and here's the 10 for the high, and then the Y on this particular one is the skill, which is 0 here and 10 the high. So we have 4 different ones. I'm going to kind of run through them a little quickly and then go into much more detail in class. But you have this one here where you have low skill, low will. And this is the direct role. And in this really just tells you as a leader how well involved do you need to be. And which you might hear some people micromanaging or things where that's appropriate. Some other areas it doesn't have to be appropriate. In this particular instance, if you have someone with low skill, low will, well, a direct approach, a more micromanaged approach is perfectly okay within these sort of situations, because these people, one, don't have the skills to do the job. You have to train them. You have to show them. You have to be very explicit and detailed in your instructions of how to help them do their job. Also, the commitment from these individuals is very low. So you have to sort of monitor their progress, make sure you're checking up on them, very frequently, and that they're moving from one step to the other. The next one is the high skill, low will. And this one is more of a support role. So you have individuals who obviously know what they need to do. They're trained, they're skilled, they know the responsibilities, the jobs, the tasks they got to do, but you have to help motivate them and things. So you have to provide them with just initiatives to help move them along, whether that's external or something like through money or whatever it may be, or other sort of things that they will tangibly get to help motivate them. Or it may be more of an internal motivation to help them to feel better about themselves in some ways. Whether it's appreciation, whether that's individual or public appreciation which they're receiving, but these individuals have to be motivated to complete the task as well as they need to be. And then you have a high will. These are people who are very eager to learn, but they don't have the skill sets yet. So, they're coming out, they're kind of fresh, they're rookies or whatever they may be, but they're very motivated. They want to do well. They just don't know everything they need to know. So this is more of a teaching role. You're sort of guiding them, coaching them and things, and you're making sure that they understand the standards and the expectations that they are to meet, and help them to reach those goals and things. So at the same time, you may need to follow up with them, but maybe not as much. But you're given a lot of critiquing and feedback which they can learn from. Also, sorry about that. Okay. All right. Not entirely sure what happened there. Let's try again. Okay. So apologize for that. The last one is delegate. So you have individuals who are very high will. They know what they want to do. They totally bought into it. They drank the Kool-Aid. They're on board. They have very high skill. So you're just delegating. You're just saying, okay, I need you to go and to research this, or I need you to go and to look at these things, or go and book these rooms or something, or here's your budget. I need you to operate within this budget. And there you're just kind of watching them. You're giving them parameters in which to operate within things, and you're just managing in a sense, and making sure they're doing all talking, having a free flow of ideas between each other. So when you think about this, and you may wonder about the skill and the will of people, and one thing I could say you maybe relate to is, imagine if you play a sport and you're going from a rec league, and then you're going from a tournament team. You obviously notice the skill differences between that and things. And you also notice the commitment. So there might be just one practice per week for the rec league, but the tournament team is probably practicing 2 nights a week and playing tournaments every week. I mean, that's an obvious, various big difference between the sort of will and skill there. And then within your team, you may notice the different skill levels that exist. So the further in which you go in to things, the more focused and defined it becomes, the more of the gradients becomes much smaller, but more noticeable between the will and the skill of people and things. Another example may be if you're on a JV band and you're going to like a high school varsity marching band or something. You can see, who are those who are more committed, those who are more talented than others, and it's obvious in that setting. One more thing I'd like to go over is the strengths and domains. So we've talked about strengths. You had your 5 strengths. I hope at this point that you know your 5 strengths in detail. And then they're further broken up. So there's a reason why I waited. I didn't want you to think about these 4 domains and trying to confuse them along with the individual strengths you have. I'd rather you focus on the individual strengths, and now we're starting to look at the domains. And you can see the different ones that are here. Influencing, those people who are helping others move into action and things. Executing, those people who are about getting results. Strategic thinking, it's about the way in which people look at the world and how they analyze problems and things. And then relationship building, those who are very good about relating and in building partnerships and connection and seeing how those work together quite well. And with a team, you want to have a nice balance of these things because all of these are very um, they're essential to having a cooperative and effective team environment and having this balance. And you should probably fit maybe within 3 of these. I have one in all 4 of these. My um, more of my strengths tend to lie within the executing, the arranger, and the restorative that I have and stuff. So for me, getting results is always one of my biggest driving forces and things. But I have one in each of the other 3, which is good. But I noticed there's probably some areas that I struggle at a little bit more than others, and I always work to balance that with people who can help me in that respect. So same thing for you is the ideal skills that you have. So you understand these skills to a further deeper level than what you knew before. And then also understanding the ideal situations in which you can operate within and do quite well. And then knowing how to sort of balance that out with other key individuals. And then with all that, having and understanding the skills in which you're good at, understanding the situations in which you operate effectively within, and then doing all that helps to develop confidence within your leadership skills. Some people are going to be better at building relationships. Some people are going to be better at forging those and creating those and retaining those relationships. Other people are going to be better at results, and that's okay. And knowing your role and knowing where you can do well is something that's extremely important to that. And in class, we'll focus on this a bit more and understand these a little bit at a deeper level. So that concludes our presentation. Here's the quote that I have for you today. It says, adapt what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. And what I often like to say to people is that, you learn and go out and see what is good and what people do, and because how else do you learn unless you're being introduced to new ideas, new concepts and things, and being able to adapt those pieces into your own personal life and how you choose to do things, and then being able to rid yourself of things that are not good, whether that's things people or activities you're associated with or whatever it may be, but working to bring those things into your life, and then put your own spin to it, put it into place where it works for you, and that you're accomplishing and doing great things. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this lecture for today, and we'll see you in class. Thanks. Goodbye.